What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV. We're going to get back into Alabama. We're talking to some of the families. Things that are going on over there are absolutely outrageous. So we're going to talk to a guy named Kevin. We're going to talk about his nephew, who actually gets beat, ends up with brain damage, and then gets beat again and killed. And there's some allegations that he owed $10. He may have lost his life for $10, or he may have lost his life just because that's how the Alabama prison system is. So anyway, Kevin, tell the people who you are, and let's talk a little bit about your situation and your nephew.
All right, my name's Kevin. My nephew Christopher was doing a 20-year stretch for armed robbery, okay? I didn't excuse him for his crime, but it shouldn't have came with a fucking death sentence. None at all. Alabama prison system fucking sucks ass how they're doing it now. Christopher got jumped. He was in another penitentiary, Staten. This was back in August, and they jumped him and hit him in the head with a fucking weight. I got pictures of the article where his face is swollen up beyond recognition. I mean, that's probably where his brain injury started, but they didn't give him no goddamn any fucking medical care whatsoever, no MRI or nothing. They transferred him. They sent him to Ventress. Ventress is an open dormitory setup, okay? That's where, there's probably 60, 70 men in an open dormitory, and there's only probably about 7 or 8 of you of the same kind. He got jumped. He was coming out from the kitchen, and two goddamn thug ass lifers that have no chance of parole whatsoever jumped Christopher over a $10 fucking dollars, jumped him and beat him unconscious. He had to be life flighted to an outside hospital. We didn't hear about it for a whole week. The institution did not get in touch with us. None, man. None at all, bro. And when we did find out, we found out what hospital it was. And me and my wife, me and my brother-in-law and his wife were the only ones of his family, okay, that care. And we went to see Christopher, and there he is in a room, tube coming out of his mouth. He had abrasions on his knuckles and his knees. He fought. He fucking fought. I'm sure they knew he was there. But what shocked us the most was how skinny Chris was. He wasn't a big guy, but he looked like a little 12-year-old kid. He looked like they'd just been starving him to death, probably taking his fucking food.
Let me stop you for a minute, because I've seen some videos. I've seen some people that have talked about that there are dudes in this Alabama Department of Corrections that don't have beds. We've seen the videos. There's guys that are, pretty much getting their food taken. They're not eating. I mean, really, what's going on in Alabama?
Yeah, that's what it is. All the pictures that I've seen that I've Googled from smuggled in cell phones, the white guys especially, I hate to throw race into it. It is what it is. There's black guys losing their lives too, but it's mostly the white. They got black eyes. They're beat, bruised all over. They look like Holocaust victims is the only description I can come up with. It looks like them pictures you've seen of the fucking Nazis did to the Jews back in World War II. It's terrible, man.
That's shocking, man. That's shocking. And the governor down there, what are they, just sitting around? They have no control of this system. Are the cops scared?
No, the fucking guards are on Cashapp, if you understand. The inmates that run the institution, it's not the guards. It's not the prison system that's running it. It's the inmates, man. And the guards are pussies and let this shit happen because they say, hey, I tell you what, we extorted money from so-and-so's loved one, and I'll tell you what, we'll share $100 of it with you. Go back up the hall.
Let me ask you this. Your nephew, how old was he when he was killed? Do you know how old he was?
Yes, he was 40 years old. He did 18 years.
He was 40 years old, and he had 18 years in?
He had 18 years on a 20-year sentence. First out the gate, no other felony convictions for armed robbery.
He only had a couple years left before he was coming home.
Well, yeah, he was working on trying to learn a skill, body work, which is it's what I do. And he was going to come live with us, and he was going to go to work at the shop that I just about run.
So my question is, he only had a couple years left when he lost his life.
Yeah, yeah, because Alabama takes away your good time. There's no parole system whatsoever. 100 people come up. This is statistically 100 people come up for parole. 2 people make it out of the whole bunch because Alabama, it's a racket. They're making money.
So I spoke to you the other day, and we had just did the interview with Daniel's family, who was also murdered and pretty much, I mean, violated in every way. You were familiar with what happened with him, right?
Yeah, I spoke with I'm involved with a lot of advocates that they're trying for change in Alabama. I spoke with Daniel's stepmom, Taylor, and I tell you what happened to Daniel, that is just, that's utterly fucked up, man.
What do you think the issue is over? You talked about these guys that had life sentences. They really don't care. There's nothing to lose. So, hey, kill a guy over $10. Do you think it's really about the $10, or is it just anger inside?
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. Just my perspective here, okay? The inmates who are nonviolent, they committed nonviolent crimes, okay? Theft crimes, burglary, stuff like that, business. It's just nonviolent offenders. And you got these guys that are level 5 in a level 3 institution, 5 being max, 3 being, almost just above minimum. It's medium. And you put in a guy that's got a chance of getting the fuck out, and this guy's got a release date of 9999. Okay, the other guy that jumped him had a release date of 2046. Okay, so they don't care. They don't give a fuck.
Let me ask you this: those guys that allegedly kill your nephew, what have they been charged with murder?
Alabama has this investigative unit that all they do is investigate prison crime, suicides, ODs, what have you, guards beating inmates beating each other. I spoke to the lead investigator. He called me back probably about a month ago. He told me it's going to take about a month and a half before they, come to their conclusion, wrap up their investigation. They said if it is, a homicide, they will impanel a grand jury and serve out, arrest warrants for the individuals. So that's where we're at right now. We're still waiting on the report on, making everything official.
You have faith that these cats are going to end up charged and prosecuted, or no?
If they're charged, I spoke to the DA in Barber County where it happened. And yeah, it's we want to seek the maximum justice. Giving them some time, it's not going to matter. They need their lives taken. They need a needle, or they need that new nitrogen that Alabama's come up with.
What do you think? Do you think that they are going to prosecute them from what you're hearing?
From what I'm hearing and the way I understand it, Christopher's case, there's too much evidence out here to where the prison system cannot sweep it. With Daniel's parents, they told them that Daniel OD'd to begin with till Daniel's parents, of course, seen his body. Well, Christopher got life flighted out. I got pictures him from Staten, and then I got pictures of him in the hospital. And that guard, the one single guard who was watching him, which I don't understand that. I think he was just there for the interest. I took the pictures, but he come over and he said, you just take pictures? And I said, yeah. Well, you got to delete them. And I pretended to delete them.
Yeah.
Not a lot of families have photographic evidence of their loved ones that got brutalized.
Let me ask you this, right? He was beat up pretty bad the first time. What happens
Yes.
after he's beat up? Where does he go to the hospital and then come back and get assaulted again? Tell the people. I know the details, but I want you to tell them.
Well, what happened with him, we didn't even know he got jumped at Staten. Okay. We had to see, my daughter seen the article in AL Reporter that had that picture of Christopher with his face all just swelled up, and you could tell he was almost blind. That's how we found out. We still have no information at what happened at Staten. All we have is information at what happened at Ventress after he was transferred. I've got attorneys. We're trying to find out. It's just a process. It's going to take a little while.
He ever call you from prison and tell you what it was like, what was going on, that it had gotten worse?
No.
When you first went in?
Christopher would call and ask for money. And, we didn't have a clue as to what was going on in Alabama because so much of the institutions, dude, they sweep it under the rug. They don't allow stories to get out. The only reason that we know stuff going on, all of us in Alabama that have loved ones or had loved ones inside the institution is smuggled in cell phones. And these other inmates are, hey, they're shooting these pictures out, this evidence. Other than that, Alabama would be covering this up, man.
When you first seen your nephew's face, that picture, we might post one of them because they're public information anyway. When you first seen that picture, I mean, what went through your mind? We're like, oh, this is my nephew?
Well, I looked at it. I cried, bro. I cried. I ain't gonna lie to you. I fucking cried when I seen it because when Christopher's mama died of cancer back when he was about 14 or 15, he come and stayed with me and his aunt a little bit. All I seen was the little kid, and I seen, oh my God, this is what the boy went through. I felt guilty. Even though there's nothing I could have done to prevent it, dude. Couldn't.
I mean, it's shocking to see that picture, to even imagine that, these type of things are happening in the United States. We talk about all these other countries and how they mistreat their people and how they got these horrible prisons and people shouldn't be treated like that. But yet in Alabama, we got guys that look like Holocaust victims. We got guys that aren't eating food. I've seen videos of people sleeping on the floor in the bathroom and in the shower area because someone took their bed. And, sometimes people, in this life, in this prison culture, they think, well, hey, man, if you're a gangster, homie, you're in prison. You better fight. You don't let no one take from you. But you know what? At the end of the day, I think it's more of a humanity thing. This is like genocide in Alabama. This is, people are just, I shouldn't say genocide, but I mean, this is like a killing field. People are just killing people. I see people with machetes. These cats got machetes in there. I seen a video where dude was slapping the dude in the face with a machete the other day, made out of a piece of steel from the prison system. I mean, where is the Department of Justice? They've been investigating for 5 years. This should be on Fox News. This should be on CNN. There shouldn't be a YouTube channel talking about it. It should be those people talking about it. And there has to be some change. And people are like, well, what are we going to do? Well, you know what? And some people might get mad because I'm a former prisoner. You need to start locking these motherfuckers in cages because they're acting like animals, right? Do you feel that way?
Yeah. Yeah. The only way that you can effectively try to get this situation is you got to get it out of the state of Alabama. The whole United States and the world need to see the atrocities, the fucking brutality that is happening to inmates. You know, they're human beings. All right. Now, if you're a fucking baby raper, child molester, yeah, go to goddamn Thunderdome. Okay. I don't care. If you're a fucking out and out rapist, you know, yeah, go to Thunderdome. If you're an out and out murderer, somebody drug an old lady out of their damn car for carjacking and you shot her in the head, yeah, you're no good to society. But for the most part, people do not view someone in prison as a human being. They don't. The only people that sympathize with this is those folks that have loved ones in. That's it. So you got to reach the masses on a make them see that these are human beings, dude. They don't deserve this. Alabama, I've been all over the world. I've seen 35 countries, okay? I got passport to prove it. I was in the military. Alabama's like a third world country as far as their prison system is. I mean, you got to take Ventures, for example. It's a 1,200 bed institution, okay? They have over 1,900 inmates. Where the fuck they going to put them? They pile them up on the floor. The more aggressive inmates take beds. So the guys are left to curl up like balls. The drugs that the guards are bringing in, this fucking fentanyl poison that is just destroying society out here, it's destroying society in there too. You know, dope up the boys, dope them up. They're easier to control.
You know
And you
the
let the gangs.
You know the names of the people that allegedly assaulted your nephew?
Do what?
You know the names of the people that allegedly assaulted your nephew?
Yes, I do.
We might have to put some pictures up so people can, put that thing into contrast. I want to
I
ask.
sent pictures to my legal team. They have pictures of the two inmates, has their AIS numbers. Like I said, one had a release date of 9999, the other one 2046. And these weren't really big guys. I look at their measurements and I'm like, I'm fucking 6 foot, almost 6'1". I weigh close to 300 pounds. I don't get it. But when your food is taken away, when you're starved, what's your body going to do? You waste away. You look like them pictures we've seen of history. And the boys can't fight back. They're outnumbered. I seen your show the other night with Daniel's parents on, okay? And I was looking at the comments, and there was a guy, I'm not going to call out his name, he said, well, the white boys need to join together. Well, I tell you what, dude, the white boys can't join together because there's not enough of them to do it. And the ones that are there are either brutalized, beat down, or are drug addicted and don't care. They just want to escape.
Let me say this. Not just it's not just about, I've read some of the comments, right? And listen, I'm going to be honest with you, hey, people set the tone in different places. In federal prison, this isn't happening, man. If there's 5, I don't give a fuck if it's 5 Mexicans. They're going to stick together. They're going to die together or they're going to live together. But I do think that there's a vicious drug problem over there where, you know what, these dudes just can't get it together. I don't give a fuck, bro. I'd be like you're, not the toughest man on the planet. I can fight a little bit. Look, you're gonna have to kill me too, but we're fighting. Unfortunately, that they're in a gladiator pit over there, and it's either win, lose, or draw. And some of these guys, they ain't even fighting back. They're just allowing themselves to be brutalized. And you know what? From day one, I'm eating my food. What's up? All right, then we're out of here.
Yeah.
It is what it is. You're gonna kill me on day one, or I'm gonna kill you. So I do think that no matter what, listen, like I said, it's more of there's black dudes being fucked up in there too. Not as big as the white population. I mean, we're calling it what it is. It's real and it's raw over here, right? We're not going to sugarcoat it or be politically correct. So people are like, oh, he's an all right dude. No, this is what's going on. And let me tell you something. If it was black dudes in the same position, I'd be doing the same videos. I don't like when people are getting murdered. I don't like when people are getting their shit taken. whether they're black, Hispanic, white, any of that shit. And whoever you are, you probably should stand up and fight. Maybe some of them dudes will see a video and say, you know what? We got 4 or 5 of us. Fuck it, man. We're going to ride together. If not, you're just going to continually be brutalized, right? And people learn that, man. When you go to prison, some of the first things they tell you, don't gamble, don't mess with homos, don't owe money, stick together, fight back. Someone hits you, you got to hit them back or they'll take advantage of you. Those guys over there must not have got the prison memo. You're out here committing crimes, you're out here being a gangster, you're out here in gangs, and then you go in there, I seen a white dude with all kinds of gang tattoos on. He was on the floor getting punched and kicked in the face by one dude and wouldn't even fight back. But yet you represent a gang or you represent this ideology. To me, he was a sucker. And I'm not saying that your nephew was a sucker. And, the pictures you said have bruises on his knuckles. Hey, hopefully he did fight back. But it's not just about that. It's about getting some attention on this shit that's going on and having something done. People have to go in here and change the culture in there. It's a system that's completely broke. So anything else you want to say in regards to that?
Yeah. The purpose of all this, I can't bring Christopher back. Okay. I want to see accountability, not only just to the 2 assailants. I want to see accountability in the institutions. No family do I wish having to decide to have their loved one terminated off life support. That's a hard fucking decision to do, dude, because you know what comes next when they do it. That's the only thing keeping them alive. Yeah, they may be brain dead, whatever, but it's still the human body laying there, man. You don't know where that soul is at. That's the hard part.
Who made that decision? Was it you and your wife, or because his mom?
It was me, my wife, my brother-in-law, and my sister-in-law. We talked about it. We discussed it. We cried about it. It's not a decision. People make the comment, "Oh yeah, if I was hooked up to a machine, I'd want." Yeah, just don't. Christopher was an organ donor. Okay, he had already set up to be an organ donor. And he had a do not resuscitate. Okay. But since it was a criminal investigation, he couldn't donate none of his organs, to people that could have needed that because it's evidence. So hopefully, I don't want to see what other families have to go through what we did or what Daniel's parents or any other person that's lost a loved one inside. I don't give a shit what color they are. Nobody deserves a life sentence unless you got it coming to you. You got it from the court because you did something atrocious.
Crazy. I mean, you went in the hospital and, someone got mad at me because I asked Daniel's dad, what did you say to him?
Go ahead, ask me.
Yeah, I want to ask you, I think it's important. I think people need to hear this message. People that, need things because you need change. Youngsters that are in Alabama thinking they're tough, committing crimes, they need to see this shit because this might be the deterrent. Hey, you know what? I'm not going to sell no dope. You know why? Because I probably can't make it over there. I don't want to be like Daniel. I don't want to be like this guy or that guy. I don't want to be laying in a bed. So, yeah, what did you say to him?
Well, what do you say? I went over there by myself. My wife, she still has a hard time with this. It was her blood nephew. Okay, I'm different from them. I went over, grabbed Christopher's hand, and I said, "I'm sorry, dude. I let you down. I am so fucking sorry that you're in this situation. If I could take it all away right now, I would take it. I would." But I apologized to him. I felt so guilty. I would have give you fucking $10, dude, if it just preserved a day. Had we known what was going on, we didn't. And I told him I'm sorry. I still tell him I'm sorry. I got his picture, half of his cremated remains on my dresser. I talk to him every day. My brother-in-law has the other half.
Listen, man, that's, there's a lot of people out there, his mom died when he was young and, You know, people need guidance, right? Sometimes people get off on the wrong path. I'm sorry that your family went through that, man. I really am. And, you know, I hope that, you know, you sue the shit out of them. Me, Nate, Andrew, we're working on some big cases over there. It's not about the money, man. It's really about change. You know,
No, it's not.
we win a lawsuit, man. We make a couple dollars, but we put a whole lot of work into it. If we don't win a couple dollars, if we can just get some public attention, that's what matters. I want to ask Nate something before because we're running out of time. But
Yeah,
Nate,
go ahead.
let me ask you this, Nate, right? We talked about ATL and Kevin here. He's familiar with everything that was going on with him. He had raped some other people, right? Can you tell us what happened with that real quick?
That's correct. Actually, so we've been in contact with two other families. One such client, we can't disclose his name, of course, but he is a part of this lawsuit with Daniel, either or we'll do it separately with him. And basically, what happened to him was the same exact thing that happened to Daniel. But that time, they didn't happen to go quite as far as they did with Daniel. And this individual, this happened to about 6 weeks before what happened to Daniel. And then what happened to Daniel is currently happening to another individual over there at Staten. That's one of the members of ATL's gang. The ATL is not actually straight gang affiliated. He's not a Blood or a Crip. This gang is simply a gang of booty bandits. That's what we've been told. That's what we've been told by people on the inside that have knowledge.
Let me ask you this. So he sexually assaults this other dude, and pretty much the administration knows what's going on, and they leave him out on the compound, and eventually he does the same thing to Daniel. He ties him up. I mean, there's some allegations that he sold him to other prisoners. Other prisoners are doing things to him because he's tied up. He can't fight back at this point. And they just leave him out on the compound. And then after he kills Daniel, he's allowed back out on the compound. I did hear today from another prisoner that's a very, very reliable source, who we both know, that he is now at the prison that this guy's at, and he's actually locked up today. I don't know if it's because of the video. I don't know what it's for, but I think that he's now locked back up finally, right?
It's about time. Yes, he's in the hole. Hopefully he's about to experience a new criminal charge. But Kevin said, the last criminal charge clearly didn't do very much to him. I mean, he had an attempted murder and assault one. He gets convicted only on the assault one and sentenced to an additional 25 years. Comes right back out to Staten to do the same thing.
Let me ask you this. You work in civil litigation. We've wrote some motions together on criminal matters.
Right.
Let me ask you, do you think this guy deserves the death penalty?
I think he would be the best case for the death penalty I've ever heard. So yes.
Well, they heard it from you, Nate. Let me get back to Kevin before we get ready to go, man. And I appreciate you coming on and sharing that, because I think it's important that people get your perspective, because you're working on a bunch of these cases. I'm helping you with some of them. And Andrew's a big part of that. But Kevin, before we get ready to go, man, anything you want to say to the public?
Yeah, man. There's a lot I want to say to the public, but under time constraint. It's real simple, guys. Y'all got to open your fucking eyes. You got to view these men and women as human beings. Yes, they made a mistake. Yes, they should pay society. I don't excuse none of that. But you take nonviolent offenders that made a bad choice a long time ago, and you put them with these animals that do not care, that you can't reach. So y'all pay attention, man. Y'all gotta pay attention to this, not turn your eye, not turn the other cheek or whatever the hell you want to say. Y'all got to pay attention and see what's going on. This ain't right. It ain't fucking right at all.
Listen, man, I definitely appreciate you coming on, and I hope that you do get some justice, not just for you and your family, but so people, that go to prison, it ain't supposed to be, Candyland or Camp Good Day special times, but it also shouldn't be a killing field where you're abused and you can't eat, and you're tortured and you're tied up and the cops look on or they look off to the side. These are things that need to be addressed, and it should be addressed in the national media. Again, Kevin, man, I appreciate you. Nate, I appreciate you. Tell people if you like what we're doing, man, we're doing it for a reason. It's not about money tonight, man. It's about, trying to affect some change. With respect, Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Until tomorrow, we're out of here.